Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back to part two of if A is a situation, what does B have to be in order for you to get C? Today we're going to talk about that C result. So I'm running a little behind. I went down a rabbit hole, y'all, yesterday. Okay. I like different type of cultures. Hi, lovely. Hi. Different type of cultures and how they do their spiritual healing, their medicines. And so I was clicking around on YouTube and I came across this one picture. Welcome to Feast So Light. My name is Felicia, as well as Niana and Priestess Makala. And I am the galactic priestess of the spiral light. Yeah. It gets into trouble when I be calling out the Trumpster. But oh well, he can take it. He's got what? He's got skin of armor, you know? He can take it, he can handle it. All right. Anyway, I went down a rabbit hole yesterday and I came across this picture and it was I want to be respectful, so I don't mean no disrespect if I call it the wrong. I'll say West Indies or Hindu. And what caught me is that this woman was put into a hole in the ground. Okay, it was a dug out hole in the ground. Now, in Native tradition, when you're going to do a vision quest or you're going to go up onto the hill or you're going to go up to the mountain and you're going to sit and you're going to do your amlecha, you're going to be there and you're doing calling for a vision. So there's many ways that you can do a vision quest. And I've heard of the one where they can, dig a hole in the ground, put you in the ground, you standing up or either sitting, however they're going to do it. And then they cover you up to your neck. And then you're just out in the elements in this area, only your head is exposed. Now, they took it one step further, okay? They dug into the ground. They put the woman into the ground. They had like it's like a whole big ritual thing that they do. And I was just like intrigued with it. I was like, what are they doing? So the father or brother, I want to be respectful. I think it's the one that prepares the floor, the ground, putting like the pillows, a little mattress thing, and the white sheet in there. And then they had a ceremony where it looked like coconut pods, might have been, were put into only two of them. No, only one of them or two with a lotus flower on top. And so when she goes into the hole, it's about, I have to say, I think it's 6 feet deep. So she sits on the cushion and everything, and she's dressed in white, and they put everything there, and she gets into this position. She's either going to connect the two fingers here and be in this position, or she's just going to go like this and be in this position, okay? So she sits, spine is completely straight. She closes her eyes. The two family members that put her in it, they step out. Then they take these wood planks and put it on top, and they cover her up. It's like her own, like, what is the one that's in, what is it called? I don't want to call it like a tomb, maybe like a tomb, but they cover it up with the planks of wood, okay? Then they take and they put the linen on top of it. So now they cover it with linen, and then another one. Then they put this, it looked like a prayer type of covering fabric that they put on top. And now the whole time while this is happening, the family is singing, they're saying their prayers, kind of like a cocoon. Yeah, kind of cocooning her. And they're covering her up. And then They put the dirt on top, and the dirt goes on top of it. Okay, so now she's completely covered. All right, leveled off. She's in the ground. She's covered up. And then they put it looks like it's pretty, like maybe incense or flowers or something is yellow, and then the red is sprinkled on top of it. Family's still singing and everybody, and then after that they leave her down there. She's in there. Now, I don't know how long the person's in there, but I came across the second part of it where they take her out, and it looks like she was in there for a while. Like, I'm not talking about a few hours. It looks like she was in there for maybe, it's just a thought. If there's anyone in the group that practices or knows of this, I'm just going to hypothetically think, don't quote me on this, maybe 7 days. I'm pretty sure she probably went longer than that, maybe 30 days. I'm not sure. But when it was time for her to come out, she cannot move on her own. The brother or father that goes inside the tomb, they have to lift her up. She is in a state of not being there, and she's so, like, her whole body is rigid, like stiff, like can't move. She's like this. She's just, and her eyes are up, and she's just in that whole state. She's not there. Okay. So then the family starts singing, and they're drumming and everything. And it's almost like they're trying to call her spirit back, because she's been gone and she's been entombed in the ground. So she's literally being lifted. She's being sat down on the like this opening areas where they're singing, they're trying to bring things back. Then as soon as they've seen a little bit of inkling that she's coming back, they bring in water or coconut water to bring it to her mouth so she can start to drink it a little bit. And then after she does that, then you'll see her eyes will roll back down and will come to center, but she's not back yet. However long she was in the ground before they lifted her up and pulled her out, and now she's sitting. And I was just like watching that, and I said, wow, that's so intense. That's like a very deep, intense detoxification where can you imagine? Okay. Now, come on. A lot of our ancestors have done some pretty deep, intense things of cleansing and spiritual prep and getting themselves ready for what they had to do to do whatever their next part of their spiritual journey was going to be. Okay, so it's that initiation and what she was doing. If I was to ask any of you right now, would you be willing to sit in a hole in the ground that's 6 feet deep, and you only have just enough space for you to sit in it and kind of sit Indian style, fingers connect, however you're going to connect, circuits are connected, and zone out and cover you up with the planks and cover you up with the blankets and then the dirt on top of you, and then leave you there? Are you ready to do that? Yeah, it sounds cool, but when you see the hole and you see how she's sitting, and it's the part where they put the planks on top. It's fasting for 7 days. Yeah. I was just intrigued. So I was just like, wow. And then finally seeing her come out of it, I was just like, wow. So I know when I did the prep and getting ready for Sundance, for women, we can be up there for 24 hours, 2 to 3 days. But 24 hours counts towards your initiation time to go in for Sundance. Okay, that's your clearance. You have to at least be 24 hours out. I didn't have a problem with being out. I liked those 3 days out in that sacred space. You're in your zone, you're in between the worlds, and you get the spirit mist that comes in, and it just permeates all over everything. When you're, even if you sing songs, you see the mist coming out of your mouth and out of your breath, the spirit mist they call it. And those are like the most sacred times, when you're getting the visions and when you're in that space. And then after you prep for that, then you get ready, you go to your destination where you're doing your Sundance, and then it's like 14 days of ceremony, prepping, and then it's game on when it's time to go in and do the dance. 4 days, no food, no water, in the heat, with your regalia on. And you got your prayer fan, and you're standing there, and you're fanning, but you have your protections on, your wrist protection, your crown protections on, and nobody can physically touch you from the outside. They have to pull on the rings and guide you around where they want you to stand in the arbor when we're doing the prayers. And the fan, how we sweep up the prayers of the people to Creator. And you're in between the world. You can look at that sun and be zoned into the sun, look directly into it, and not have any problems doing it. I remember, I think it was my second, was it my second year? Third year? I think it was my third year. There's 4 years, that four years for when you're doing the 4 years dedication completion of that. So it's kind of interesting. On the third one, I remember I went for a doctor's checkup and stuff, getting everything done before I would go out. And she said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Oh, I'm going to go do my Sundance and da 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 da." And she goes, "What's Sundance?" I said, "Well, it's a form of, native tradition, time you zone out for 4 days. It's 14-day ceremony. It's connection to the earth and connection to Creator. You being a vessel and being a service. And no food, no water for 4 days." Oh my God. Doctor had a shit fit. Why do you mean no food and water? It's going to be hot out there. You can't be doing that. You're going to endanger yourself. You're gonna... I said, "I already did it." When she spouted off and started losing her shit, I said, "Well, you're a little 2 years behind. This is my third year. I'm sitting here. I'm not having any issues. I come in, get my checkup, and then I go out and go do it again." She goes, "What?" People forget, when you're in medicine, it doesn't matter if it's native, it doesn't matter if it's Santeria, it doesn't matter if it's Taino, it doesn't matter if it's all the different African spiritual, the Hinduism, it doesn't matter if it's Nordic, it doesn't matter. All of us have our imprinted traits that carves out that sacred space where you're in the center of that sacred space. You're not of the physical world, you're not in it, but you're in the sacred space between the heaven and the earth. You're in that space right there. Right there. You're tethered between both. Okay? And it's in that space where you have your visions, where you see the things that are going on in the bloodlines of the family, where you see the things that is your dark demon that's hunting you, and you have to do battle with it. It's in between that sacred space. It's in between that sacred space when we call in that most highest divinity of ourselves and that highest connection that you connect to. When you go into that space and you're doing that healing on the self or on the bloodline, you're in that space. This is that space where when you speak your prayers, your words, and you're invoking that, it manifests to what you are asking for. It's in that space. That is the B space. You're in B space creating, because once you come out of the B space, then you come and you see the C, the result, the C result. So before I came on, went down another rabbit. I went down a big rabbit hole. I went from that ceremony to one that I saw today where it looked like twin sisters were going through some kind of initiation. They had coconut water poured on top of their heads and flowers and things, and then the woman who was doing the cleansing of this goes over and gets these amber of the charcoals and then pours the ambers on top of their heads, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna catch them on fire. And then the two people on the side come and they douse them with water and everything, and they're in their zone, they're doing their zone, they're in the songs, they're in the medicine. I was just like, wow. So before I came on, I saw something else come up, and it's called Sindur Ke Kima. I think it breaks down to the price of marriage. It's a soap opera. No. So when I was eating, I was watching it, and I saw the part where the sister took the other sister out and got rid of her because she wanted to get married to who she was gonna marry. And they got her all ready to go. They got the wood underneath her. They lit the whole bonfire up, and but the girl's spirit goes up and she's talking to the God and da 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 da, and they sends her back down, and the rain comes and puts the fire out. She gets off of the the altar or whatever they call it for when they're burning up the person. They're sending him up, cremating him, and she runs and she catches up with the husband that she was going to be with and says, I'm back, blah blah blah. Now get it, it's not in English, but you can, the music and the amount of drama that's going on, you can pretty much figure out what's going on, and you can pretty much figure out when you see one of the aunts faint, she faints, and then they come back, and then all of a sudden the sister that did the harm shows up, and then the music intensifies, and then it's like, oh, now she's gonna tell him that she tried to offer in the bathtub, and da 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 da, and all this stuff is gonna come out, and then the mother faints again, and I was like, wow. But it was really interesting. So yeah, I went down a rabbit hole. It's kind of like, why am I watching this? Because it's something different. And I was just like, there's no English for it, and I'm just watching their expressions, and I'm still getting it. It's almost like that. Yes, yes. You can tell on that show also how they'd be like, no, 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 no. I'm like, yes, yeah, I don't know what you said, but yes, do it. It's something about it. So yeah, I went down that rabbit hole. So I was just like, why am I doing it? And you know what? I found myself doing it because it's something different. It's something that shows expansion. It's something that shows awareness. It's something that says, oh, well, I don't understand what that is, so I'm not going to waste my time watching that. No, it was like, oh, what is this? Curiosity. Oh, wow. What? Oh, listen to the music. Wow, look at the colors. Oh, wow. Oh, somebody. Oh, so what's happening here? Oh, and I found myself yesterday, as I was looking at all the different spiritual medicines of healing, and I came across some that were a little like, whoa, like in Uganda, in there, and how if you don't know where you're going in that part of Africa, you're not going to come back home. And then one of the most saddest case, because this guy was out doing a documentary about cannibals, if there's still a history of that in that part of Africa. And he and this guy were kind of going through, and he says, I'm just on this healing journey and wanting to know about if this is still happening. And then the guy says, well, if it is happening, you're not going to know about it unless you get lost. And it's when you get lost on these roads and you're asking for help, it's when nobody will see you again. I was like, do not go to Uganda. No. Mark that off the list. I don't need to go visiting there. Thank you very much. Nope, nope, nope. So there was a lot going on of why I was kind of looking at our ways of healing. And I thought it was really interesting. I was watching how people, they go into the drumming, people go into the waters. There was this part where one of the vessel, I call them the vessel women, when they channel in the spirit, they submerge themselves into the water and they're doing the singing and the drums are going. And then I watched the Caribbean. Now that one was pretty cool. Beautiful blues on, the long white dresses. And I watched I want to say the elder who was leading it, the mother that was leading it. And everyone that was there, they were going through their next part of their initiation of what they were doing. So the drums were playing and I was looking at something and I said, wow, look at that. It's all interconnected. It's all the same thing. They're all doing their healing. They're all getting connected. They're all going in and facing their shadow part of themselves to do that healing. And then as I was watching, the mother who was leading the medicine, her head whipped back. It went boom. And I said, what's happening? And then comes forward and her head went boom again. I said, oh, that's 2 spirits, 3 spirits, 4 spirits. She took in about 8 or 10 spirits that were ancestrally connected to her that were going to be doing the medicine with the people. As the drums kept going, and I just watched her whole face change. Everything changed about her. And I was like, wow, look at that. And the music, and you could just see people who were in that sacred space, yet again, are separating themselves from that holding on to the ego, holding on to what you're supposed to look like, holding on to how the medicine is supposed to look. How am I supposed to spiritually feel? What's it supposed to look like? Holding on. But then all of a sudden you see them release. They let go. When they let go is when I noticed the head would whip back, and then they became the vessel of themselves, a spirit, whatever spirit that was dancing with them. And I was just like, wow. And I was watching, and I said, a lot of them, they just faded out. Their bodies were inhabited by spirit. So here's my question. When you're doing your healing on the cell, and you're coming into that place, and you're calling in spirit, how are you calling in spirit to connect? How are you calling in spirit to show up for you? How are you connecting to spirit? Because their end result is either to complete the initiation, to get the healing that they're looking for, to get the more inspirational insight of what they're looking for. But in order to get that, they had to separate from what their issue is. And they had to become the seer to what the problem is, to do the battle with it. So to either heal it, rectify it, transmute it out, whatever it takes. So this is a question when it comes to healing something. Hi, lovely. When it comes to healing, how far are you willing to go deep within yourself to heal it? How far are you willing to peel back the layers to get in there especially when it starts to get uncomfortable? When the shit's coming up and it's raw. It's kind of like, you know how you get that scab and it's like you don't like how it's healed over the scab and you start scraping at it and you're like, pull off. There it goes, bleeding again. You pull it off. But it's like when you pull the scab off, what comes up? What's still surfacing? And what's happening in all of the timelines and the energy and the supercharged plasmic light that's coming in order for the body to hit that crystalline state, to hold those frequencies so that you stay anchored on those higher realms and higher timelines, it has to push out all of the what I call the dead cell memories of the trauma, of the pain that doesn't need to be there. The dead cell memories of the lack of the limitations, of the old beliefs that don't need to be there anymore. And this is where, when it comes to healing, where you have to be so strong in your mind to override all the judgment of yourself, all of the old words of belief and limitations that you've said to yourself or others have said and imprinted on you. You have to override that and say, that is not true for me from this point forward. That's not true for me. That is not my truth. That is not the energy I'm following. So remember yesterday when I said, speed of light in a holy minute. I came back, speed of light in a holy second. Just like that. Change it in a holy second. When I said in a holy second, chills came in to the body. And I was like, oh yeah. Why do I gotta wait a minute? It's in a holy second. Our thoughts, everything, seconds. Everything around us, how we see it now and how everything is changing, is happening in seconds. Right before our eyes. You might not see all the little details, but I guarantee you when you come back in about 5-10 minutes, it's going to be different. So in the speed of light, commanding it so, and in a holy second, it's done. I like that, because that's saying you're in that space of connection, and it feels so good. I want you to try it. Take a deep breath in. Just take a deep breath in. Close your eyes. And I just want you to just feel the words when you say it out loud. So I can change things. Things can change for me at the speed of light. And they really can change in a holy second. And snap your fingers. Things can change for me at the speed of light and change in a holy second. You feel that surge and you feel this energy whip up around your auric field, because that's something only a very powered up, energetic form, divine being would say and can tap into. It's your birthright. Because words do have power, but they only have power if you know how to align them to get the reaction that you desire. So going from a holy minute to a holy second is done in a holy second. That's divine within itself. That's how long does it take to flip a coin? Seconds. It don't take a minute to flip a coin. You're not flipping it and it's going, okay, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4. Okay, it's kind of turning on the side. 5, 1,000. Okay, it's coming down 6, 1,000. You're not doing that. When you flip the coin, it goes, boop, boop. Okay, heads, tail. In a holy second. Things change for me at the speed of light, and it's done in a holy second. And I'm aligning to that holy second. I'm seeing it come into that holy second. I like turning on the light switch and trying to faster than the light coming to the room to get you. So true. But that holy second, I want you guys to really think about that. I'm not guys, but all of you Be So Light members to really think about that. Things I'm a friend of mine, we were talking on the phone, and I'm like, what day is it? I feel like I'm in Wednesday or going on Thursday. She goes, girl, it's only Tuesday. I said, don't feel like Tuesday to me. And I said, and yesterday was St. Pat's Day. Didn't feel like it at all. Just like I said yesterday, it just felt like it was just a marker day, but there was no connection to it. Like, oh, I better have some green on. Oh, I don't want to get pinched. There was none of that. None of that going on. It was like, oh, what's going on today? What do I got to look out for? What I got to be ready for? It's a constant, got to be ready now, all the time. So, yeah, I went down that rabbit hole, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna jump down this rabbit hole, and I was just fascinated watching all of the different type of ceremonies of what was going on. So we're still in this solar moon of intention and the pulse and realized intention. We're still here, okay, in the galactic calendar, okay. And I have the other one, the computerized one on my computer. So today is my day. It's March 18th. It says the White Renaissance Wizard, guided by death. Yes, all about that. And it's all about, I channel, hold on, let me open this up. Yeah. Okay. I channel in order to enchant, inspiring receptivity. I seal the output of timelessness with the Renaissance tone of atonement. I am guided by the power of death. The color is white. The planet is Maldak. The chakra is the root, and the earth family is gateway. We do have a rune. And in order to understand your own mind, you must become skilled at critical thinking or exercising the power of discrimination. So, being discerned, that word should really be discerned. Discernment, having discernment. Found my book. So, oh, and yeah, and I got another book. I think I showed you guys this book too. But let's take a look-see. Okay, so it's the Dagas. And this one is all about Breakthrough and Transformation Day, which is interesting because it's associated with the energy of the wizard is going through what needs to end. What is the ending? When we talk about what is A as the situation, what are you going to do in B to get C result, to see the result? Okay, what does B have to represent? Does B represent the transmutation? Does B represent the deactivation? Does B represent cutting the ties with something? Does B represent releasing the energy of something, or getting out of a situation, or moving into a place of healing, or making a strong sacred space connection with your divine team and talking to your divine team about what you are cultivating and bringing in as a part of healing? What is that B representing so C takes place? Because you can't get the C without knowing what you're going to do with B. You already know what A is. You already know what you're dealing with A. A already represents. But B, what is the being state of the energy that is there, and what needs to come in place of that so you can see results? This is that little window space where we get tripped up at. This is that place where if you're still dealing with the money issue that comes up, this is that place. And that money stuff is tricky. And I'm going to tell you why. Because money's interesting. The more I really look at how the fiat is leaving us and we're going to be stepping into other current monies or however that's going to show up, the more I start looking at it as that money has been so spellbound as a strong hold of belief of how far you will go in this world, of what you can and cannot do if you don't have that, or enough of it, or if it's all locked into paying off bill. Bill keeps showing up every time, 2, 3, 4 times a month. Bill comes holding out his hand, talking about, hi, I'll take that. Bill shows up. You know what I do? I stopped a long time ago paying things so early, thinking I was doing so good doing that. After hearing all of the lies and all of the stuff, how things have been done to all of us, and all the games, I make sure I limit how much auto pay I'm on. And one of my biggest things that I got rid of was having an insurance company on auto pay, because they weren't taking it out on the due date. They would come and take it out 3 or 4 days before the due date, getting their share. There's something about when you knock people off of auto pay that's very powerful, because you're saying to them, you'll get it when I give it to you. Oh, you went up on your rates and now you expect me to pay extra in rates, so therefore you're going to get it when I give it to you. There's power in that. I wait till the last minute to pay somebody when it comes to that. Want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because of the lies. Because of all the deceiving, the manipulations, the interest rates, the craziness. Why am I going to be all goody with that kind of energy? I'm not going to be. I'm not going to. It's a disservice to all of us in the times we live in when the xenomorphs hike up prices on your medical, your meds, your insurance, and better yet, let's go there, let's be real, getting rid of your insurance to cover you for fires and floods and stuff like that, secretively saying, I'm sorry, we're no longer covering you for this, and then something happens. So why would you want to give them beautiful service of letting them have access to your stuff at any time they want? I say make it hard for them. Don't make it easy. Because they sure the hell weren't thinking about us when they hiked up their prices. They sure weren't thinking about, well, we shouldn't be doing that, and we are in a rough time. No, they're thinking, well, it's time to take price up. No, it's time to take up the interest. This is that part where we sit back and say, you know what? That doesn't work for me anymore. And there's something in that when you can take the power out of their hands and say no. When's my date? Okay, it's due on this. that's when you're going to get it. You might have to have a little chart book out to keep up on when something's due. That's okay. But I tell you what, even if you were late, you just say, oh, I got so busy. I've been so busy running around doing all this stuff and had some runs to do. I'm just now getting to you. Here you go. Oh, and don't put any extra fees or charges on that. See what I'm saying? They've had their run. It's our turn now. Yeah, I got it. I forgot after. Yeah, it's our turn now. That's how this is. Sometimes part of the medicine of healing is when you say, I'm no longer agreeing with that anymore. That's stressing me out. Like when you get bill collectors calling, oh my God, I remember how bill collectors, when I was on disability at the time when I was healing, and I only had X amount of money coming in to pay the rent and to still be out. I wasn't well enough. You have to go back to work, but I was just on disability. And you know, they only give you just enough. Everything on this planet is always about just enough. For those of us that are in the circle, the ones on the out of the circle, they always have their needs met. But here in that circle that we're busting out of, that fake ass circle that ain't working no more, thank goodness, it was always just enough. And I'll never forget that time I was $21 behind on a cable bill. Cable hounding me. Yeah, just enough. Hounding me for a payment. Stressing my blood cells out. And I just remember looking at my genie bottle that was on the counter. He said, you mean to tell me you don't have $21 to give us right now to prevent your cable from being turned off and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, looking outside and it's raining. And I'm like, I don't even have energy to have a conversation with this fool on the end. And I ain't got time for this. And I said, no, I don't have it. He said, well, I just don't believe it. I said, okay, you know what? Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me go check and see if I can get the money from this place. Hold on. I put them on the counter. I walked over to my genie bottle. I kid you not, this is what I did. I made sure he could hear me. Calling on the genie bottle. Genie in the bottle, are you there? I need $21 to pay the cable bill. The guy is hounding me. Genie. Are you there? Yeah, nothing's there. I go back to the phone. I go, hello? Well, I don't have any money coming in now. I'm going to have to wait until I get my next check. Who did you ask? I said, I actually asked my genie bottle. I have a genie bottle sitting right here. Made of brass. Handmade for me. You know that show called I Love Genie? Well, I have a replica of that. It's handmade, brass. Sitting right here. I opened up the lid. Genie wasn't home. No money available. And she told me to just tell you you're going to have to wait. That guy he started busting up laughing on the phone. And he goes, in all my years, I have never had anybody ever say that to me. And you know what? I'm going to leave you alone. Your cable's going to stay on. And when you get your money, just send us a payment. After that one, I don't even have the heart to mess with you. Because that was an original. I said, I'm not lying. I actually have a genie bottle sitting right here. Heavy as hell. It's heavy as hell. It's made of solid brass. Nobody's home. So it's when those type of things stress you out, you don't have to be beat up by those people. You just say, I already told you, like last time, it's the same scenario. You're either going to come down and work with me, because that's the times we're in, where you can work with me on this, split things up, or take your interest off. You don't need to have the interest on that. Or if you really want to get fine-tuned, it's already paid for through my birth certificate. Go take it from that. since it's already paid for. And this is just extra money you're getting on the side. How about that? Have a nice day. Toodaloo. Anyway, the room. What? What do? I'm not sugarcoating nothing. They've been getting away with it for long ever. It's time for a little. I'm sorry. It's just some people. It's time for a little butt whipping. I'm just a switch that came along that just. You know how the switch cuts the air? The sound is chasing your butt. Come in, and why is that? When you're getting the switch to the butt, they want you to come back. Get back over here. Like, no. You want to whip my butt? I'll make you earn it. Yeah, I was a sprinter in my day when I was younger. Don't know where that came from, but everybody right here understands what I'm talking about. You know, that cut in the air. Okay, so this Breakthrough Transformation Day is all about timing is right. The outcome is assured, although not from the present vantage point, predictability. In each life, there comes at least one moment which, if recognized and seized, transforms the course of the life forever. When you get an illness that comes out of nowhere, that's a journey, depending on the severity of what it is. And here's the trick to changing to make sure you're going to get your C result. In that moment, when that doctor comes in and gives you that diagnosis, in that second, you have a second to change the course of the timeline. By the time the words come out of their mouth and they say it, you either agree or disagree in that timeline, that stamped timeline imprint right there, that you're going to take it on. You're going to allow that energy fully 100% in. Or you're going to say, okay, I know what it is. I know what the outbalance is, but I'm going to choose to override it. I'm choosing to override it. And you don't have to tell that doctor that you're choosing to override it. You just say, okay, thank you for the information. I'll make note of that. And then as they do their typical thing of getting you in the prep mode, if you got to have surgery or if it's going to require this or require that, you can simply say, you know what, let me get back to you on that. I need to go have a meeting with my higher counsel. And they all look at you like, what do you mean higher counsel? And then they try to put the fear stamp on you. Now, if it's something that needs to be dealt with immediately, I get it. Yes, go for it. Like mine's biopsy, went back to work. Next thing I know, I'm getting a call. You got to get back in here. We've been messing around with this for over a month now. No wonder why the sore throat never went away. Get in here. We gotta set it up now. Okay, making movement. In each situation with that B, when you have that sacred moment, that bubble, B represents what are you putting in the bubble? What is the antidote to A that's going to give you the C result? How do you want your C result to be? Do you want to be healthy afterward? Do you want to be free from what's been causing you stress? Do you want a shift in a crinkle of time? In a holy second to change something? Where's your mindset? Because when you're in depression and low vibration, you can't heal. You can't use your Reiki. You can't do all your things because your mindset is down here. But if you were up here elevated in a higher frequency where you can anchor and you say, I'm not going to be down here. This is not where the healing is. The healing is up here. This is the spirit realm. I'm in spirit realm. I'm going there. In my spirit realm, no matter what I'm dealing with, there is no time for no hate. There's no time for no not forgiving something. There's no time for judgment. There's no time for negativity, anything negative. No negative TV watching. No negative music watching. No eating negative foods that other people prep and they were. I'm cussing over. I'm sick and tired of cooking all, and they're putting it all in your food, and then you go eat that. There is a reason why we say beautiful, blessed up words over our food so that we're not ingesting what others were thinking and functioning on if we bought that food or how it was gathered and brought to that place to be served to us. There's a reason why you take the water and you say thank you to it. Thank you for healing my body. There's a reason why when you wear a crystal, you give it something to do. You tell it what it needs to do to keep you centered, to keep you grounded, to keep you focused. Anything that's coming at me that's a lower vibration of negativity that is not love oriented, deflect it. There's a reason why selenite is one of the best things to use when your body is out of sync with things like that, when you're dealing with cancers and stuff like that. And I remember my very first piece of selenite, and it was huge. I still have it to this day. From this part of my arm, I think it's right here, to my elbow. Okay, was this big piece round of selenite. And she gave it to me. A friend of mine's mentor, teacher, gave it to me. Says, I want you to use this. I want you to sleep with this at night on your chest. Maybe put it at the base of the bed where your feet, your toes touch it. So it's constantly changing you. And, I think it's really interesting when you see selenite, you see light. But this selenite is nothing but pure liquid water minerals that hit such a high temperature to compress itself into a solid form. Because if you go take this and leave it in water long enough, it starts breaking it down. It starts to not have a shine to it anymore. It starts breaking down. When it's in its own slates in the caves and it looks like this, these plates, and they chip it off, this is that selenite. And when you look at this, this is part of mother's bone system. This is part of her plasmic light. And I just love, and I'm sorry, I'm getting ready to have a tangent here. I just love people who get all freaked out about don't be getting crystals and don't be using this. It opens up doors and but you don't have a problem with your cell phone. Oh, you don't have a problem with your computer. Oh, you don't have a problem with your TV. Because all of that has crystals in it. Every single bit of it. Your car has crystals in it. Not to mention copper. What does copper do? Magnetize. So selenite works with the body because it's working with you on your cellular level. Awesome thing to do when you got pain going on. Slap that right on your chest. Go sleep. Helps you go to sleep. I took a piece of labradorite And I remember after my very first time I had surgery, and it was for cervical cancer. Yeah, I had visit. I didn't learn my lesson the first time. I got visited 10 years later and had to learn again. So when they went and took the cervix out, they left the ovaries in. Now I was still in the heart of my nursing career. And I remember when I woke up and they had that PCA machine on me, I said, take that damn thing off me. I said, Miss Burns, you just did it. I said, no, take that off. I don't want that. Take that off me. And I reached over and I grabbed my stone and I put it on me. They go, what is that? I said, I'm stoning myself right now. They start laughing. I said, look, and it's side effects free. So your labby works well with you when you have to heal fast. You hold it right in the area where you are, where you need to heal, and it helped. I remember when I took it off my womb area of my surgical wound and the doctor came in, it was like the doctor came in the next morning to check on me after surgery, was astounded of how fast the wound was healing. Almost like it was like 3 or 4 days out. She said, I can't believe how fast you're healing. And I go, she goes, what is that? My favorite stone in the world, labradorite. Labradorite is also a good one that helps you when you are going on your path and you have to stay centered, you have to stay focused. It's like working with the universe. Those flashes are like the beautiful light that it holds, how our universe is ever growing and expanding in itself. So when you're working with selenite, that gives you that space of healing. So wrapping this up, you're going to have to step into that place of creating that sacred space, that bubble of what B is representing. What are you putting into B? What is the medicine that is going to activate your C result across the board? That's how you get fine-tuned. And you got to be willing. Step out of that thought. Step out of the old way of thinking. Step out of those words. Don't be in a place of limitation and saying, oh, I don't know if this is going to work. And fear has no place around you. Because fear is always going to be, you really think you're going to get through this okay? You're going to do this by yourself? Aren't you just scared? You know you're scared. You're scared of losing everything. Yeah. Why don't you just give up on that and just go get everything done as quick as you can? Why are you trying to just have some kind of communication with yourself here? You think that's really going to work? What are you expecting? A healing? That's what fear is doing. Fear is talking to you and saying negative stuff to you. Fear is sitting there in a side corner as your greatest battle is fear. When fear comes in, fear expects that you're just going to lay over and do exactly what it tells you that it knows it wants you to do. Fear is the one that governs us all if we give it the keys to do so. But if you dethrone fear and tell fear to go kick rocks and it has no place at your table, and you didn't give it an invite nor no keys, then it cannot do anything but sit and wait until you decide to resurrect it. That is the hardest thing right there, is getting rid of the fear. So while I'm battling, I'm keeping away my mom and dad's fear and their worries on what I should and shouldn't be doing. There it's between me and Creator. Everything that's going on that has been a challenge for you up to this very point is between you and Creator. Ain't got nothing to do with everybody else. They're a part of the outside stuff of it, but your response is simply this. It's between you and Creator. That's how this is. However you see that. That's how this rolls. So while you're sitting trying to figure this out and you're getting deep into the depression, stay out of that field. There comes a time when you're going to be down. But then you have to realize when your energy goes down, you say, okay, where am I? Stop. I'm going to change this in a holy second. Let me go up. Let me go get some sunshine. Let me go walk and go look at some animals or go do something that makes me feel good. Yeah, honey, this is not this type of show. This is metaphysical. So welcome if you want to come and be here. I'm talking about healing, and that's what I'm doing here, Kylie. Okay. So, and make sure you get the whole thing of the Christ part right, because everything's been trickery on this planet, in case you haven't noticed. I'm way ahead of the game. My soul is very, very old. I'm not talking about hundreds of years. I'm talking about billions of years. I know who I am. So, everyone, you mark into that space and make sure you know what your B is and what your C is. All right, let's look at today's healing. Let's look at the words. Kylie, this might not be your cup of tea. You might want to leave now, because I'm not sure if you're coming here in your divine way or artificial way. Okay, let's go in. Yesterday's read was on point. So we're going to do the reads again. We're going to see what as a consciousness do we still need to zero in on. And those of you that are doing your journal writings on what is coming up for you, we're back in to the mystic. You know, everyone has free will, but don't expect me to get, I don't take well to that. If you're not showing up in your divinity, you're showing up as an entity. And only a harmful person will say things like that to someone else that they don't know. Am I right or wrong? Oh, yes, I'm right. So, if you wouldn't like something like that being said to you, don't come saying it to others. Mystical healing. Like I said, I've been around a long time. And that's just how I roll. We all have free will. You don't like it? Click off. Go somewhere else. Go find a place where you belong. If you want to be here, we welcome you. But don't come over here being disrespectful. Grid. Crystal. Said a lot of that type of energy is going to be running rampant. Leo King talked about that. Everyone send Leo King some love. He's going through a lot of healing that's needed for his jaw. Guys, don't let your dentures or teeth or anything cause you problems and you're scared to go to the dentist. So we're just going to send him some love that he heals fast. The light language message, it's going to be with this. And then the sacred geometry. And we're going to look at the light, coded light. I love working with the apothecary of the Sacred Coded Light. And this young lady, Izzy Ivy, she is so awesome. This young lady, man, I remember when she put out her first ones and the things she had to go through. She said, she said, she got the information coming through. She had been sick a lot. And a lot of people don't realize that's how you get on your path. You go through a near-death experience. And that's the doorway to getting you there. And then she comes out of her challenges and starts drawing these beautiful pictures and coated with light. See, everybody already knows why they're here. Okay, you know, I know my part. I know why I'm here. And I tell you one thing, I'm going to be always fighting for people. Fighting for the children. I'm not going around bashing people and doing crazy stuff. Only with the xenomorphs. The ones that have been so harmful to all of us. Got us stuck in programs of beliefs and making you think you know what you know, but you don't. Plant medicine to match with that crystal world. And I'm going to pull another plant medicine. Now that was the magical one. I'm going to pull one more for the herbal one. And I took her course. Awesome lady. Oh my gosh. You really learn a lot about indigenous medicine here. And one of the plants I'm going to really start working with is Damiana. I worked with it back in the day, but I'm going to work with it again. Because I feel like it's time for that. Now, tomorrow will be a part 3. And we're going to dive into what do you do when you get the C result. And when you're working with different modalities for the healing. How do you stay on track? How do you stay in your creator space so that when you get those visits, you know that those visits are on point. They're not something evil or bad coming to you. Okay. Oh, we're going to have another moment. Hold on. Oh my gosh. This is so good. Oh my goodness. Shut up. I love reading. Been talking to spirits since I was 8 or 9 years old. I'm 59 right now. All right, so relinquish control is part of our healing today. Relinquish control. You know, a lot of people that run around and have all that fear and all that stuff. Why don't you relinquish that control? Relinquish. Because it's all about your divine communication. Communication. Having that communication. And this stone is the Chatterlight. And then, get this. It steps into the divine feminine. Some of us have lost our way totally with that. Keep forgetting how powerful you are. And then we step into the synergy. Number 41, synergy. The frequency of synergy supports our allowance and acceptance of not so obvious, never seen before combinations and unions that result in new ways of functioning, working, thinking, relating, loving, and being. It reminds us to embrace the unfamiliar so that new yet exciting co-creations can give birth to a new reality. This is where we are right now. Those of us that are awake know what time it is. This is where we are. What are we creating? Yeah, I hear you on that. I was done And let's just keep in mind, let's keep it real. I am an ordained minister, non-denominational, since 1990, I want to say 99, 96. So I can marry you, bless you, and bury you. There you go. So, you know, but I just don't play with the old programming, the programmings that were put here to control us by the masses. That's the reason why they call it mass. Mass. Are you going to mass? Yeah, I left that. I think I was done with church 1997. I woke 96, 97, around that time, and then went full on down my path. So this is our plant medicine called Dragon's Blood, number 51. Now, Dragon's Blood is also a resin that you burn on a charcoal or on an incense stick when you want to cleanse the space of heavy negative energy. You know, if you're walking around in negativity land, you cleanse that. Okay. The other plant medicine is mother's worts, and this is the courage. So tomorrow we'll dive into the plant meaning of this. So mother's wort. Part of homework assignment tonight, look at the plant. Mother's wort. W-O-R-T. Mother. Cleansing external energy is the shaman's message today from the stars. Cleansing external energy. And the way we wrap this up and we stand in our crystals and our Christ light consciousness of self, the return of the true Christ light is the return of our consciousness in the Christ way, is this. I am loved. I am love. Here it is. Beautiful card. And that is our read of medicine for today. So to kind of help you stay focused and centered. So the Shaman's Star Warrior Oracle. I love this set. So just to kind of like really kind of let people, I think my card collection is up to 200 and something. Maybe 208. Because I collect them according around the world. Different artists and why they made those cards and the medicine. When you're working with cards, you're working with portal light of energy on what you're working with, on what you're asking for. It's all about intention. Even the Bible gives you freedom of that. It's all about intention. How are you going to use that? So, with that being said, it's like, don't step up on this. You'll go down a rabbit hole and you won't come out of it. You won't come out the same. Yeah. I'll wake you up. Yeah, you might not want that. So this read is all about just staying focused into that. And everyone stay in your flow. But I want you to really look at that. What is your B going to be? Okay? What's your B? We don't have time for lower energies that don't know who they are yet. I know who I am. Do you know who you are? Yes. Okay. So, with that being said, everyone, I will see you tomorrow. We're going to dive a little bit deeper. We'll go into some plant. And I really want to talk about the additional part that really helped with some healing. And it's called the flower essence. This is a big book that talks about all the flower essences. I'm anonymously calling you. I know you are. But we're going to talk about when flower essences, when you got to get into the flowers. Okay? And people don't realize how powerful flowers really are for your healing. Okay. All right, lovelies. It's been my joy and my pleasure as usual to come on and just spread a little wake up, get supercharged, pay attention. Don't buy those storylines that you see. And be aware there's a lot of energy, NPC, non divine beings running around doing crazy stuff. And you just stay in your high connection with your divine team, how you see that for yourself, and be that. Everyone has their way of connection. All right. And with that being said, enjoy your evening, enjoy your day, and be. Work with some selenite tonight. Get that selenite. Works really good in responding to the water flow of the body. All right. All right, lovelies. Be good to yourself. I will see you tomorrow. Be well, be good, be so light. Like and subscribe. Be good to yourself. You are so welcome. Everyone, thank you so much for being part of the chat. Everyone, send Leo King healing for his jaw. He did have surgery to correct the the tooth that caused a lot of damage to the jaw. That's why you can't wait on that. If you have a tooth problem going on, you got to get that checked, because it starts going down into the bone. That stuff starts eating away at the bone, and then you got a big infection going on. And all up here in the head, the eyes, all in here is sensitivity and brain sensitivity. All right. All right, everyone. Much love. I will see you tomorrow. To live